Hey guys, so I was sitting here just thinking about something. Uh, I got married 5 years ago. A little bit more than 5 years ago. I was 20 when I got married. My husband was 26, but I was 18 when I met him. I was fresh out of high school. Um, when I met him, and when we became engaged, like I met him in July. I met him July 4th, and we didn't really start courting until August, and then December, 4 months later, we were actually engaged. And then a year and a half later, we got married. So we weren't together for too long. Um, but we got married. Um, I got married young. He was already in the military. He was already established. He already lived his life. Some of his life. And if you're calculating, I met him when he was 24. He was 26 when we got married. So, when I first started telling people we're engaged, in particular the younger folks, people who were my age, 18 at the time, some were a few years older, some younger, a lot of people said this one statement: "Oh, you're too young. You need to go out and live your life. You haven't even lived life yet." Now, to the young folks, to the young crowd, that means go out, club, party, you know, date around, date a few more people, and that's what that meant to them. So, some older folks will say the same thing, like, "Hey, go live your life," all that kind of stuff. My mom would tell me, go out, live your life, um, establish yourself, get to know yourself more, spend more time with yourself. That's what some of the older crowd meant when they said live your life. Um, but I put it like this: I've never been the type that likes to be single. I've always liked to be in relationships. I always wanted to be with someone. That didn't mean I didn't know myself. I just knew what I liked. For some people, there are some people who like to be in relationships. There are some people who hate to be alone, and that's a given. We all have our own preferences. For me, I knew at a younger age that I wanted to be married. I don't know if I wanted to start a family right away, have kids right away, but it happened, and I'm quite grateful that it did happen. It taught me a little bit more responsibilities in life. But as for everything else, I was happy that I was getting married, especially to my husband. I knew he was the one when and this is really a silly story. It's very simple, but some people may relate, some people may understand. But I remember one day he had just come and picked me up. He was gonna take me out somewhere, or we were going to hang out that day. All I said was, "Man, I really want a milkshake from this place called Calichi's. They have them in New Mexico." That's where he was stationed at, and I had just moved there with my aunt and uncle. I said, "Man, I really want some Calichi's." And all of a sudden, I didn't even ask. All I know is we ended up at Calichi's. And he kept doing things like that for me, where I would just mention something and he would do it. Now, I wasn't mentioning these things because I thought that he would get me, something, but because he was a caring person and he listened to my needs. And 5 years later, my husband is still the same way. He's the exact same. I can mention something, I can need something. I mean, I have a need for it, and he will go out and he will some kind of way get it for me. And I've always been grateful for him for that. Now, another thing that made me want to marry him was the fact that I didn't have a father in my life growing up. My mother raised my sisters and I. As some of you know, we're triplets. She raised my sisters and I. So, we had my grandfather around, my uncle Marshall around. They were great role models in our lives. We've had other men in our lives too. But he took the time to ask my aunt and uncle, who I was living with at the time at 18, who I moved with, if he could court me. He actually cared for my being, and he understood like at this time they're over you, and I don't even know if they want me to date you. So I'm gonna take my time out and ask them, and I appreciated that. And not only that, but he actually took the time to ask my aunt and uncle for my hand in marriage. He manned up and he did that. He didn't have to, but he did. And I was very grateful for that. But not only that, but everyone loved him. He's a great guy. Everyone truly loved him. And I am truly blessed to have that man in my life. So if anything, to be married young and to have a man like him in my life, and we share mostly the same values, and we raise our son together, it's quite a blessing. So yeah, but for me, going back, when people say live your life, to me, if I told someone to live their life, I would mean get some education about yourself. Not necessarily college, but know something in life. Know where you're headed at in life. You could do it with someone or you could do it by yourself. It doesn't matter. But for everyone, we all have a preference, whether you want to live your life with someone else young or older. It's all about what you want to do. No one can tell you when to fall in love. No one can tell you when to get married. No one can tell you when the time is right for you. We can, people can guide you. People can lead you. People can give you suggestions. But no one can make you do what you don't want to do. And I think it truly depends on you and your preference. It truly does. For me, I've always wanted to get married. I think I've only told a handful of people this. But when I was 17, I prayed to God that He'd let me be married before I turned 22. And that was always a prayer of mine. Like I said, I always wanted to be with someone. I'm not one who wanted to go hoeing around. I wasn't a virgin when I met my husband, but at the same time, I could count on my just one hand how many people I had already been with. And even though those, I wish I could take that back too. But speaking honestly, it happens. Life happens. Oh my God, you're gonna do things. You're gonna make mistakes. You're just gonna do things. It's a live and learn, and life lessons. Lessons learned along the way. It's funny because my cousin Dorothy has a Facebook page called Lessons Learned Along the Way, and I love that page. But yeah, hey, I got married young. And to encourage other people out there who got married young, it's not a mistake if you know what you're doing. And you know for a fact that that's what you want to do. It's not a mistake. Don't let other people tell you that. Don't let other people block you from your blessing. Because sometimes other people that come in our lives, they're blessings. And don't let no one get in the way. All right? So I just wanted to come and encourage someone about that today. I got married young. We're going on 5 years. We just hit 5 years. We're still going on strong. We don't see this thing ending anytime soon.